Today, we will discuss the basics of letter of credit or documentary credit. I assure you, if you follow me to the end, your basic concept of LC will be crystal clear. Now, what is the LC? Let's see with a common situation. It applies to both inland or international trade. We have a buyer or importer and a seller or exporter. Both want to do business with each other. They have also decided on a contract detailing the types of goods, how to send, when to send, and everything else, but none knows or trusts the other. Buyer thinks if I pay first, I may not get the goods after that. The seller thinks if I send the goods first, what if I don't receive payment? This dilemma is mitigated by a payment tool called LC. The importer applies to a bank, usually his own bank, who issues asset of conditions for the goods comprising all the relevant conditions mutually agreed on the contract, like the exact type of goods, mode of transport, shipment dates, etc. The bank issues this on behalf of its customer, that is the importer, to the seller who is called the beneficiary of the LC, and says if you follow these conditions exactly, then I, as a bank, undertake to pay you the value of your goods no matter what. Even if my own customer fails to pay, I will pay. This undertaking is an irrevocable one, meaning once it is issued, you cannot backtrack and withdraw. So the exporter is happy that now he does not have the risk of non-payment, provided he follows the conditions of LC, and the importer also has conditions to be met by his bank. He can be rest assured that he is getting the exact goods that he wanted. Now that you understand the situation when LC is used, let's see the definition. Letter of credit is an irrevocable undertaking issued by a bank on behalf of the buyer or importer to the seller or exporter to pay for goods and services provided. The seller presents documents that comply with the terms and conditions of the documentary credit. We have the buyer, and the seller and their banks and ports or places of dispatch and receipt of the goods in case of inland trade. As we learned earlier, the buyer and the seller will decide the contract mutually. Then the buyer will go to a bank, usually his own bank, and request to issue LC. Since he is applying to issue LC, he is called the applicant, and his bank is called the LC issuing bank or the LC opening bank. The bank issues the LC and sends it to a bank in the seller's country or city in case of inland trade. This is done through SWIFT. These are highly encrypted methods of electronic communication between banks. Now the bank, which receives LC from the issuing bank, checks the authenticity of the SWIFT message, meaning it ensures that the LC is genuine and not a fake one, and informs the seller that an LC has come in his name. This act is called advising. So this bank is called advising bank. On getting the advice, the seller collects the LC from the advising bank and goes to his own bank. Now, in most cases, the advising bank and the seller's bank are the same bank. Let us consider that both are the same. Now, the seller has LC against his orders. He puts together goods following the instructions in the LC and sends those to the buyer's place or his country. He then puts together all the relevant documents on this transaction, like invoice, certificates, etc., along with the transfer document of the goods. Mind it that without these transport documents, the importer will not be able to release the goods in his own country. Now he submits all these documents to his bank. The bank then checks all the documents against an LC and determines if the seller has fulfilled all the conditions of the LC. If all are found okay, the bank advances the value of the goods to the seller at once without waiting for the payment to come from the buyer.